Hi, friends. My name is Jon. I'm recovered from alcohol and drugs and have a new relationship with God that has been solving all my problems for about 18 years now. And so I wanted to talk today and introduce the concept of becoming into relationship with God and how I got there. So, kind of like a step three share with Ashley going to share her experience about it, but you can't get to step three without one and two. And so the introduction of one is really anybody having a first step problem or something that is overwhelming to them that they can't control, that it can controls them and they can't do it anymore. So I got to that point where I was on the streets of Ottawa. I couldn't live and I couldn't die. And because I couldn't die, I needed to learn how to live and went to a treatment center downtown. And they introduced me to this concept of God that I had grown up with and introduced me to a new way of living under the authority and power of God. And I had to really address the fact that I was playing God. So they gave us a little project, and in the project, we had to create the faces of God in which we play. And so I created a clown because I use a lot of humor, and then I use a lot of control and manipulation. So the clown had a knife and a club. And then clown that I have is a very angry clown. So this is how I played God my whole entire life. I controlled and stabbed and beat and tried to force people to love me and get my own way and get my needs met that way. And I had to quit playing God. So step two is really coming into a belief that I am God and that this is not going to work and that I have to quit playing God. And coming into belief that God can and I can't. And in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous on page 62, we read, this is the how and why of it. So coming to that, coming to my knees of being at a place of more rock bottoms after more rock bottoms and not being able to hit the ultimate rock bottom, which is death. This is the how and why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. Next, we decided that the year and after drama of life, God was going to be our director. He is the principal. We are his agents, and he is the father, and we are his children. So this is a simple idea, a good idea, and a simple idea. And this concept is what they say is the triumphal archway that I get to walk through into the land of freedom, into a spiritual freedom inside of me of releasing the job that I get to play God. So the concept is that I was the director, the father, and the principal. I ran the show. I gave the scripts to me and to everybody around me. I took all the responsibility like a good father does. I instruct myself. I pick the boundaries. I change the boundaries. I am an authority. And then the principal, I'm the agent. I represent what I'm all about. And if you don't like it, you can leave. And so I just had to give that job to God and come under his lordship, so to say. And as I created this angry clown with a knife and a club, I had to crumple that up and be a child of God, to be directed by God. And so that was the beginning of my entrance way into this new relationship. And step three is making a decision to turn me, my will, my thinking, who I am over to the care of God. And so we see that in step three, it actually is an attribute to God that suggesting that I am turning my will to his care, and he is a God that cares. So it is suggesting that I have taken care of myself my whole entire life, and it doesn't work because my care has extreme needs and I am just chugging and getting my needs met. I'm caring for myself in an extravagant way, in a way that isn't sustainable and has some detriments to it. And out of that, I drink and do drugs because the result of me caring for me is overwhelming. And so whatever you go to is really what brings me or you into the door, because after a time of extreme caring and the results of that and the weight of that, we look for the ease and comfort, which brings us into and onto our knees looking for a new way. So in that way, in the early days, I get to be reborn because I quit doing God's job. I quit being the director, the caretaker, the principal, the father, all of those things, and I'm employed by that concept, by being employed by the father, the principal, and the director. And so it says in step two that at the end of that, there's all these promises of relinquishing control and letting go and letting God. And it says we were reborn. And so the Bible says, how do I come in relationship? Well, I get to be reborn. And Jesus said, no one sees me except, no one sees the Father except through me, that I am the way, the truth, and the life. And so I get to be reborn as I relinquish control over my life and I dedicate my life to Jesus. And then coming into relationship with the Father, the Spirit, the power of that, the light of that, I'm transformed and reborn. And so I make a decision and then we follow through with the rest of it. And I believe that's what the rest of our lives are all about, is following through, being under discipline, being under instruction, being under the care and love of God. And He's going to give me what I need, not necessarily what I want. He's going to give me what I need. Oftentimes, He gives me what I want because I'm probably one of His favorites. But we all think that. So maybe God does give us what we want sometimes, and maybe He doesn't, but He always will give us what we need. And sometimes having very little is what we need to be shaped and molded into His image, not the image of the world. And so I just want to turn over the rest of the meeting to Ashley just to share her experience on her relationship with God and how that's changed and transformed her. And as she celebrated a year of recovery recently, it's an amazing witness to the power of God in her life.
Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. Um, okay, so I grew up with going to church. Um, we went to church on Sundays. I was in Sunday school. I went to youth group. I've always believed in God, but didn't always believe that I didn't have a relationship with him. I didn't believe that he really cared about me. There were things that happened in my life that I was just like, how could God possibly care about me? And I used drugs and alcohol, and I filled the emotional, I never felt emotionally okay. Like it didn't, outside things affect me emotionally. And I was never able to just be emotionally okay. And I came here desperate. And I was pretty much willing to do anything that it took to grow spiritually. Um, God led me here through a family member, my mom, and I just kept showing up and I never left. And God really worked with that. I kind of, yeah, I came to LifeLab. I just kept showing up and I kept showing up and I kept showing up. And at the time I started coming here, like my life was chaotic. I used drugs and alcohol. I was selfish, self-centered, needy, full of fear. I would seek my value through outside things, relationships, whatever. Basically, everything on the outside was gonna fix what was internally wrong with me. Um, I God just he just never left, and I just kept seeking that relationship with him, and I just kept coming and showing up. And the more I showed up, the more that relationship with God grew. It's like I do devotions every morning. I left my job that I was working and I started volunteering here. And I don't know, like God has just provided for me everything that I've needed. I don't have a lot, and that's okay. Find like yeah, in order, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It just, yeah, the relationship has grown. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. But God is there for me in those mistakes. I don't, yeah, the selfishness, self-centered, negative thinking, the adrenaline seeking, it still comes up. But I have God to lean on, and I have people in my life that help me through those things. Um, yeah, I yeah, I had to start worshiping the creator instead of the created. And yeah, when I try to fix my life, it goes sideways real quick. And so I'm learning to grow spiritually in my relationship with God more and more every day. He is just, yeah, I don't know how to explain it much better than that. But my relationship with God is just something that I'm not willing to give up now. And he just ignited a fire in me, I guess, and this trust that everything's going to be okay. He's going to provide all my needs, and he has provided all my needs. Like financially, I come here every day and like things just come to me like $1,000 gets deposited into my bank account and I don't like I didn't ask for it. It just was there and I just yeah, I've received so many blessings in the last year and I'm just placing my trust in God and I try to serve in whatever ways I can through seeing my relationship with God grow. One of my children actually got baptized. Also, this community has grown their little hearts a lot. And yeah, it's been such a blessing for me.